The photo taken from 29 million kilometers away by NASA is still sparking a firestorm of controversy. Instead of that thrilling sense of discovery everyone expected, outrage has been spreading non-stop for days. Because from a distance of just 29 million kilometers, using instruments worth billions of dollars, basically more expensive than the GDP of an entire small country, this is all we got. And yet, when you place it next to an image captured from someone's backyard using a homemade telescope, the truth feels completely upside down. What the world received was a shapeless blur, an image so faint, so suspiciously indistinct, that it looked less like an interstellar visitor and more like headlights lost in digital fog. Yes, something feels fundamentally wrong. You know, it's not hard at all these days to come across a post like this on X, 3i Atlas update. The first image is from an amateur ground-based astronomer. The second is from NASA, the largest space agency in history. Pretty hard to overstate just how embarrassing this is. That's exactly a jab from a user on X. Exactly. This is a blatant jab at an agency with a $25 billion annual budget. And yet, it's the truth. Even we can't deny it. And what about you? Go ahead. Tell us what you think, so we can dive even deeper into this discussion together. And remember, this isn't raw data. This is the processed version. NASA's carefully prepared result after weeks of delay. In the tone of this conspiracy narrative, it feels less like a scientific release, and more like the aftermath of an internal decision. Blur everything that shouldn't be seen. Look at this long presentation from NASA. These were the images taken during the government shutdown. While our spacecraft were still permitted to operate, our content releases were required to be paused. Now that we're fully operational again, we're sharing everything they've observed over the past few weeks. For 45 days, this image was locked behind closed doors. No updates, no explanations. 45 silent nights, 45 days of missing data. And when it finally emerged, people began doing what NASA had hoped they wouldn't, comparing it with the raw, gritty, honest images taken by backyard astronomers across the planet. The reaction was almost universal. It was evident on everyone's face. That sentiment showed up clearly and unmistakably right under the post itself. A flood of comments filled with the word lie, you are lying, blatant lie. A wave of outrage spread instantly. Some went even further. You see, in this narrative universe, it feels as if NASA wants to guide the public's thoughts, to hypnotize them into believing 3i Atlas is nothing more than a routine comet. And the irony is almost absurd. Did they truly believe such a blurred, ghost-like picture could fool anyone? Because the official picture does not merely look blurred, it looks sanitized, as if scrubbed clean of anything inconvenient. Thankfully, before NASA's anticlimactic reveal, the world had already witnessed extraordinary images captured by astronomers across the globe. The raw frames, yes, but clearer and sharper than anything the billion-dollar hardware produced. Every amateur photo screamed the same message. This object is not behaving the way a comet should. They showcased a blazing nucleus, a vividly shifting coma, and 3 dramatic tails: dust, ion, and a strange anti-tail stretching millions of kilometers across the star-drenched sky. Its brightness, its structure, its unexpected symmetry, it all looked wrong. Exactly the kind of material any major space agency would normally spotlight, unless they had reasons not to. Now place NASA's high-rise image next to theirs. What do you see? It's like putting a watercolor painting beside a razor-sharp photograph, a dreamy, mist-softened smear, so gentle and so uniformly stable that it feels incompatible with the chaotic, sudden, unpredictable behavior Atlas has shown. And so, in this story, we feel genuine gratitude for those who fought to reach the truth. Despite the impossible distance, despite the breakneck velocity of the object, despite their painfully limited budgets, they still captured what mattered. Not from one country, not from one observatory, but from New Mexico, Austria, Thailand, China, and many more places that could never all be named. People captured fragments of truth that seemed to slip between NASA's fingers. Their spokesperson repeatedly defended the agency on live streams, claiming that the object was too distant and moving too fast to capture clearly, and that their equipment was not specifically designed to carry out such a challenging task. Or perhaps in this darker narrative, NASA was trying to keep those fragments from becoming a complete picture. Too much smoothing, too much noise removal, too much caution, as if someone didn't want the public to see what 3I Atlas really looks like. Earlier, NASA responded to senior Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna with a mechanical, almost soulless explanation. As soon as the government reopens, they'll be releasing images or data. They claimed the 45-day silence was unavoidable, that administrative processes prevented an earlier release. The justification arrived in the dry, hollow tone of a bureaucratic machine, precise, emotionless, and strangely convenient. So, time for what? For filtering the data? Yes, but perhaps the kind of filtering that doesn't remove noise, but removes the truth. Because in this narrative, their explanation doesn't feel like a reason. It feels like a script. Because no one truly believes that the most powerful space agency on Earth, equipped with supercomputers capable of analyzing terabytes in minutes, needed over a month just to evaluate a handful of images, only to produce a few disappointing slides.
The scientific community is hard at work analyzing these images, and everyone, as always, is welcome to take a look.
Yes, they insist that the scientists have worked as hard as humanly possible. And now, the world is expected to calmly accept that blur, this strangely fogged silhouette, as the natural outcome of standard processing. Administrative procedures may postpone the announcement, but only editing can postpone the truth. NASA has always emphasized the impressive technologies at its disposal, yet paradoxically, that very emphasis only serves to heighten public expectations and stir emotions to a fever pitch. The truth is undeniable. This organization possesses an enormous arsenal of modern resources, instruments designed to complement one another across virtually every vantage point and every wavelength throughout the solar system. The satire is sharp. NASA possesses the technology, the instruments, the vantage points, and the know-how to capture 3I Atlas in unprecedented detail. And yet, the images that reach us are oddly restrained, leaving the most tantalizing mysteries just out of reach. Yes, after all this technological might, only a handful of images have been released. Faint, small, barely discernible specks, so faint that if one doesn't look carefully, one might not even realize which tiny point of light represents the very object the world is desperate to see. The contrast is jarring. With such an unparalleled observational network, why are the images so underwhelming, so muted, so stripped of the detail we know these instruments are capable of capturing? It raises a chilling question. Could it be that the clearest, most detailed image, the one that reveals everything, has been deliberately withheld? Is that the image which could show the full, raw, undeniable truth of 3I Atlas? Precisely the image that they do not want the public to see? In a network capable of observing every corner, every wavelength, and every nuance, the decision to release only blurred, diluted glimpses feels less like science and more like concealment. The more one considers it, the more it seems impossible to ignore. The technology exists, the clarity is achievable, and yet the world has been fed only shadows and whispers. And perhaps, just perhaps, the moment the full truth is unveiled, it would be the moment that changes everything. As of now, 3I Atlas has already traveled through roughly 2/3 of its journey across the solar system. Only two major milestones remain. The first comes on December 19th, 2025, when this interstellar visitor will reach its closest approach to Earth at a distance of approximately 270 million kilometers. At that moment, the world's most powerful ground and space-based observatories, Hubble, James Webb, Space Telescope, will have the rare opportunity to capture breathtaking moments. The second milestone, the final chapter of Atlas's solar system odyssey, will occur on March 16, 2026, when it passes near Jupiter at a distance of just 53.6 million kilometers. At that point, NASA's Juno spacecraft will be perfectly positioned to extend its instruments and probe the secrets this interstellar traveler carries, gathering unprecedented data from an object that has journeyed across the stars. In an essay published on Medium, Professor Avi Loeb stated that he and Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna are deeply eager for the upcoming encounter. He wrote, "A close encounter between Juno and 3I Atlas will provide a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to bring a human-made spacecraft within a short distance from a large interstellar object. The event will also be an unprecedented public outreach opportunity for NASA." Coming from a leading astrophysicist and a sitting member of Congress, such words carry weight. They reflect a shared belief that this moment is not just scientifically valuable. It is historic, unprecedented, and deeply relevant to the public. And yet the irony is impossible to ignore. Every mission capable of observing 3I Atlas, from Hubble and James Webb to Spherex and Juno, is owned and operated by NASA, which immediately raises a quiet but persistent question. Will NASA ever release these images in full, unfiltered clarity? Or will the public be offered only blurred, heavily processed snapshots, accompanied by the familiar list of explanations and justifications? This distrust does not appear out of thin air. It has been strengthened layer by layer by NASA's recent handling of high-rise data, where delays, opacity, and selective releases have sparked frustration even among longtime supporters of the agency. What once felt like a transparent scientific institution slowly begins to appear more guarded, more filtered, more curated in its storytelling. Public trust is being noticeably eroded. When an organization of such scale and authority maintains full control over the imagery, data, and narrative, the dream of accessing the truth, a dream paid for by taxpayers, feels more distant than ever. So let us stay calm and keep watching the night sky, shimmering with stars, hiding wonders just beyond our reach. The truth will reveal itself at the very moment you're waiting for. Until then, stay with us as we chase these cosmic mysteries to the very end. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you in the next video.